What's poppin', Rob Television? Welcome back to another reaction with your boy. As you can see by the title, man, I'm coming at y'all with another GOAT, or should I say two GOATs. I don't know how y'all view it. Some people might not view him as a GOAT. I know one of them everybody gonna view as a GOAT is MJ, but the other one is Michael. Other one is Lebron James. So basically, this is a video stating 10 reasons why LeBron James will never be greater than Michael Jordan. Now, I ain't gonna talk you out of death, man. I'm just ready to get into it. I'm ready to see this fact checks and understand his reason. Now, I'm not saying he ain't, and I'm not saying he is. But that's the point. That's the whole point of this reaction, man. Basically, that's the whole point of the reaction. So before we get into the video, man, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. Roll to 1K, no cap, man. We 8 at this current moment. I don't know. When I upload, I might be at more. But we 8 subscribers away. No, we 9 subscribers away from 900, man. That's a goal I got set. So, if you're watching this video now, if you don't believe me, check it out. That's a goal that I got set, bro. 900 subscribers. So, if you don't believe me, you seen it right there. But I'm done talking stuff. Let's get into the reaction, man.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today I am back with a video. But this time, once again, we're talking about two of the greatest players of all time. That being Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And this time, I'm going to prove to you guys why Michael Jordan is still the greatest player of all time. And I'm going to give you 10 reasons of why he is. Now, before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so. And if you could like this video, I really appreciate it. So with that,
this must have just made. You seen LeBron walking out after that Phoenix. This was just made.
Better than LeBron James.
Turn it up a little bit.
So first up, we're going to keep it very simple and look at the two most important aspects of basketball. That being scoring and defense. And Michael Jordan is definitely by far a better scorer than LeBron at the two biggest aspects of basketball. In Jordan's career, he averaged 30.1 points per game in the regular season. That is the most all time. 33.4 points per game in the playoffs, also the most of all time. And 33.6 points per game in the NBA Finals, once again, the most of all time. And we're looking more in depth at the playoffs. Jordan had 8 games of 50-plus points. That's the most ever. 38 games of 40-plus points, also the most ever. And he never scored under 15 points in a playoff game. And he has the longest streak ever in the playoffs of double-digit scoring games. Now, in addition to that, Jordan is also the better defender, being a 9-time All-Defensive Player and a Defensive Player of the Year winner that he won the same year he won MVP, something LeBron James has yet to do. And when looking at Jordan throughout his career, even at age 35, he was a first-team All-Defensive Player. LeBron James.
I'm about to go look at MJ defensive highlights.
Has seen a steep decline on the defensive end, and he's not the same elite defender that he once was. So when looking at the two biggest aspects of basketball, scoring and defense, Michael Jordan is objectively better than LeBron James at both those things. Now, next up at number 9, we have the fact that LeBron James faced weaker competition, and for the most of his career, he was in the...
Now, I know that's what people like to claim back in the day, and I used to think possibly too. But going back and watching that Last Dance documentary, bro, you realize that back in the day, they did have some good players, and they had some nice teams too. And then rules was a lot different too. So, I mean, NBA might be a little bit more talented, little bit more talented than it was back then. But then, like I said, a lot of the rule changes too have made it to where these players really damn near barely can be touched, which allows them to put up the points that they put up.
He was in the weak Eastern Conference with very few, if any, title contenders. Now compare that to Jordan, who played in the 90s East, arguably the toughest conference of all time. You had the Indiana Pacers, the Pistons, the Knicks, and some very good teams, Celtics, as well as Hornets teams. And when looking at Jordan LeBron's overall
Celtics
careers,
had won 2.2 when Bird was still in the league.
50-win teams to LeBron's 19. And Jordan also has the better win percentage versus those teams, winning 20 out of the 27 times, compared to LeBron, who won 19 out of 30. And the same thing can be said for 60-win teams, as Jordan beat 7 to LeBron's 3, with Jordan once again having a better win percentage. Now in LeBron's defense, on average, he faced better teams in the finals, but looking at the playoffs overall, Jordan definitely faced the better teams compared to LeBron James. Now next up, reason number 8, we get the fact that Jordan had the better peak than LeBron James, and Jordan's peak was in 1988 to 1993. In this 6-year period is better than any 6-year period of LeBron's career. And when you look at how Jordan played in the playoffs when it mattered most, he averaged 34.6 points per game, 6.7 boards, 6.6 assists, 2.3 steals, 0.9 blocks, on insane 50, 35, and 83 splits. And Jordan at his absolute peak had 0 flaws in his game, and three-point shooting was not an issue at this point in time. Also, I would say Jordan as a two-way player and all-around player was at his absolute best during this time, as he made 6 all-defensive first teams, including 1 defensive player of the year. Now, next up at number 7, we have one of the more
we all know that because MJ never went to a game 7 in the finals, nor has he ever lost the finals.
It truly is the biggest stage, and everything is magnified. Now, when looking at this stats-wise, Jordan in the finals averaged 33.6 points per game, 6.0 assists, 6.0 boards on 48, 36, and 80 splits. LeBron James averaged 28.4 points per game, 10.2 boards, 7.8 assists on 48, 35, and 73 splits. Definitely some impressive numbers from both players, but I think Jordan stats-wise has the edge over LeBron James. And also from an iconic perspective and how dominant Jordan was in the finals, winning 6 times to LeBron's 4, while also mentioning LeBron James lost 6 times to Jordan's 0 times. And if you want to look at iconic moments from both these players,
that's crazy, man. This dude never lost in the finals,
has
bro.
One of the greatest moments in NBA history. He has the layup versus the Lakers where he switched hands. He had the shrug game where he made 6 threes. He had the flu game where he had the game-winning three-pointer. And of course, he had the shot over Brian Russell. LeBron James, in his own right, has one very iconic play, that being the block on Andre Iguodala. I think it's pretty clear Jordan was the better finals performer.
Yeah, the Iguodala block was legendary.
And he simply had a better record on the biggest stage. So, moving on to number 6, we have the fact that Jordan had a bigger impact on the game of basketball when compared to LeBron James. Jordan, in his time, took the torch from Magic and Bird, who had brought the NBA into its prominence, and he took it to another level in the 1990s, taking the game global.
Hey, shout out to all y'all who've been watching my Larry Bird and Magic Johnson videos, because y'all have never failed to give me the knowledge and was telling me that. Like, I've been getting mad comments from my first Larry Bird reaction saying, man, why you end the video so quick, man? You can't watch it, and you can't talk about Bird without Magic. You can't talk about Magic without Bird. So, like, salute to y'all, and I'm just not understanding that they really did transcend the level of basketball, and like MJ kind of just took it through the roof.
Global, getting players numerous endorsements.
But they made it possible for MJ to be able to do that.
For the NBA. And during this time, the league reached peaks they had never seen and that they haven't seen since. And if you want to look at how popular Jordan was in his time, I would say look at the ratings of his finals games. The 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, and 98 finals are all in the top 10 of the highest rated finals in NBA history, with the 98 finals being the highest rated of all time. And that was all the years he was in there. That's crazy. The 98 finals, the NBA has 4 of their most watched games of all time. Now, compare that resume to LeBron James, who in his time has the 2 lowest rated finals ever, that being the 07 finals and his past year in 2020. In that 2020 finals, they went 6 games. All 6 of those games were the lowest rated. I ain't gonna even lie. I barely even watched that too. And this one stat will blow your mind. LeBron's most watched finals averaged 20.28 million viewers. That would still not be more than Jordan's lowest watched finals. So I think it's pretty obvious Jordan, from an overall perspective, had a larger impact on the game of basketball, and he was simply more popular than LeBron James. Now, finally getting the top 5, at number 5, we have the fact that Jordan was the much better player in the clutch time situations. When it came down to it, when it was money time, the game on the line, the series on the line, Jordan came through more times than not with some iconic game winners. Now, LeBron James, in his own right, had some great game winners and some big clutch time shots. I'm not saying LeBron isn't clutch. He's just not as clutch. But he's not as clutch as Jordan though. Ain't no way. To the playoffs on game time go-ahead shots in the final 24 seconds, Michael Jordan shoots 50% compared to LeBron James, who shoots 35.7%. In the last 10 seconds, Jordan shoots 46.7%.
A lot of times too, Bron would pass the ball. You know, not saying that that's a bad thing, but you know, with Jordan, man, Jordan is a 5%. Bro, it's live or die, man. If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose on my own. You know what I mean?
Playoffs, Jordan definitely is better at the late game time and go-ahead shots. And if you look to the NBA Finals in the last 24 seconds, Jordan is 4th rate on those shots, exactly 50%, compared to LeBron James, who's 0 for 7, at a pitiful 0%. And one stat I love to look at is clutch time scoring. At his last 5 minutes a game within 5 points. So let's look at those stats.
Jordan was just different, dude. That's just crazy.
He has 85 clutch-time points on 30.8% shooting. Jordan has 126 at 46.9%. So I think it's pretty obvious Jordan in the playoffs as well as the finals is the more clutch player when compared to LeBron James. Now next up at number 4, we have LeBron James and his epic playoff failures that are way worse than any of Michael Jordan's failures. And I'll start this out by saying, Jordan's career, he did fail and he did lose. But in virtually every playoff series Jordan, except for one versus the Orlando Magic, he came up big when it mattered most, and he still played very well. Even in that Orlando series, he still averaged 30 points per game despite the loss. You won't find any flat-out...
I think that's when he had first came back too, huh?
LeBron James has plenty of black spots on his playoff resume. Now the first one I have to look to is the 2011 Finals, where the Heat were big-time favorites versus the Dallas Mavericks. In this series, LeBron James averaged 17.8 points.
Nah, I remember low-key in one of them games, though, I think Bron had like 8 points in one of them finals games to total that game off. And I remember they was dragging him on SportsCenter, bro. Like, Skip Bayless numbers having a field day.
And it definitely never happened in the NBA Finals. Also, I would look to the 2007 Finals. LeBron James, once again, did not play good on the biggest stage. He was very young, but still, he only averaged 22 points per game.
And his defense had a sorry-ass team, too.
Looking at 2008 versus the Boston Celtics, in that series, LeBron averaged 26.7 points per game, 6.4 boards, 7.7 assists on pretty awful 35, 23, and 75 splits. And for the majority of that series, he was god-awful for that Cavs team. And looking at 2010 versus the Boston Celtics, LeBron James had one of the biggest and most forgotten choke jobs in NBA history, as this Cavs team was heavily favored, and they actually went up 2-1. But over the final 3 games of that series, LeBron James would average 21.3 points per game, 11.3 boards, 8.3 assists on pitiful 34, 15, and 74 splits with 6.3 turnovers per game. When looking at LeBron's playoff resume versus Jordan's resume, it's simply not comparable, as Jordan is virtually spotless compared to LeBron James, who has numerous series where he underperformed and did not show up. Now getting to the top 3, at number 3, we have the fact that LeBron James, he was never feared like Michael Jordan was in his prime. And to put it very simply, Jordan was much more dominant in his era, the 90s, than LeBron James has been in any of his eras, specifically the 2010s. And in Jordan's championship era from 91 to 98, he was 6-0 in the NBA Finals, 18-1 versus the Eastern Conference, 6-0 versus the West, 24-1 versus the NBA. He beat 9 50-win teams, 7 60-win teams, was a 4-time MVP, 6-time Finals MVP.
6 times Finals. That's crazy. This dude was Finals MVP all years he went.
6-time scoring champ. And when Jordan was fully healthy and fully rested, there was no team, no player who was going to outplay him and win a championship against his Bulls team. And you can go on YouTube and look up how players in his era, they absolutely feared him and they never wanted to cross him or talk trash to him. That is something you cannot say about one LeBron James. Now at number 2, we have the fact that LeBron James, he likes to lead his teams and create super teams with different superstar players. And I will say LeBron James has the right to lead his teams anytime he wants after his contract is over. But when looking at how he makes his teams, how he plays pseudo GM, you can't help but realize he's really selfish.
I remember that right there, man. That's just like kind of just messed up the league, bro. Like,
he never asked for another superstar teammate and never demanded any types of trades. And looking back at the 2011 decision, that's something Jordan would have never done. He would have never gone and joined Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. He wanted to win the championship his way on his own team. So taking into account the fact that Jordan never asked for a trade, never asked for good teammates, and he never played on a super team with more than one All-Star, that has to be a big factor in this debate when evaluating these two players and their overall legacies. Now at the number 1 spot of why Jordan is still better than LeBron James, it's very simple. His basketball legacy and his body of work is still better than LeBron's. And after this video, looking at all the dark spots on LeBron's resume, and the fact that Jordan never had those down moments where he underperformed, it's pretty obvious Jordan has the better overall basketball legacy, and taking into account he's also the better player. That, in my eyes, makes it pretty simple. Michael Jordan is the better overall player, he's a greater player, and he's still the GOAT for the NBA. So that right there is the end of the video.
Truthfully.
As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, when you watching this video, it's just every time I watch a video about Mike, man, and I'm not sack riding, I'm just fact riding, you feel me? You just be like, man, this dude right here was just different, bro. Like, I don't know. In my opinion, do I think Bron is better than Mike? Nah. But, I mean, like I said, we got to just kind of appreciate the different eras of greatness. You know what I mean? Like, Mike, back in Mike time, Mike just wasn't. People, like I said, like, from the league-wide respect to just people just wanting to see Mike play. Like, Mike was just the type of player, like, I don't even watch basketball, but I want to see him play. That's just like how you had, like, fighters like Mike Tyson. Like, I don't even watch fights, but just because it's Mike Tyson, I'm gonna go to that fight. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it was. But that is it for this reaction video, man. If you did enjoy this video, man, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. Click that post notification button. We've been notified on all things Rob Television. I'm about to stay gang.